riding the cape. Let's talk about Michael. First of all, box office is crazy.
What was that number again?
424 plus
Ah,
million.
damn. Now, I really enjoyed this 400 and something million, but, it was great while we had it. Now it has to slow down tremendously so that it doesn't hit that billion mark, because it's going to make $750 million at the box office.
There are people who have been talking about going to see it 7-8 times that I've seen. So, good luck with that.
Not only am I holding down the billion mark for Michael, I think it has a chance to be the box office winner of the year. It's got a shot. It's got a shot.
That one might be a little tough.
I don't know, man.
It does have a shot, but
I think the confluence between the majority of the big blockbuster films, the film slate, not just for Disney, but for like studios, period. Warner Brothers got a big one coming up this summer. Disney got a big one coming up this summer. Like, the summer is jam-packed.
Mm-hmm.
I think the confluence of that and everything that's going on right now economically is going to kind of come to a head at some point in the middle of the summer. Right? You know how when you were a kid and maybe you go to a buffet, parents will tell you, oh, or at the end of it, you still got a bunch of food still on your plate. Parents will be like, your eyes were bigger than your stomach, huh?
yeah.
This is going to be a your eyes were bigger than your wallet situation. I don't know what y'all gas prices look like.
Man.
I don't know what y'all gas prices look like. But if we still haven't gotten the majority of the economic brunt of, limited tankers through the Straits of Hormuz yet, and we already hovering around $5 a gallon, buddy, I can only imagine what it's going to be like 2 months from now when everybody's driving, air conditioners going at full max.
Yep.
Like, yeah, sure. Going to see all these movies through the months of June, July, August sounds great. So that ticket price go up to about $25, $30 a pop. And it's like, well, damn. So the benefit of Michael is that they released and will have the bulk load of their run before the brunt of that economic pain actually kicks in.
Yep.
When folks are borrowing money for groceries, I don't think Supergirl is going to be very high on the docket. You know what I mean? When we running around here at night siphoning gas, I just don't think that, a spin of the block on Spider-Man is going to be in everybody's budget.
Sure, a lot of people are going to be torrenting all those movies.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
bootleg sites.
not that they're not going to make hundreds of millions of dollars. I'm not saying total economic collapse. I'm saying the response from the consuming public will show in those numbers. You can't just sell a movie to only rich people who still got their funds. That's not the idea. You sell a movie to the masses. The masses are going to be going through some tremendous suffering here if something doesn't come to a head with our geopolitical situation. Yeah. Like, all that shit trickles in. And so if people can't put food on the table, if we can't get to and from for work, how readily are we going to be to go out and spend $50 on a movie? Michael is in a position where they're going to have the majority of their run, not completely outside of it, because, gas is still expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But
before it gets too heavy.
Before it gets so heavy that people are having to make the hard decisions.
Yeah. Lawrence said gas like $6-7 in California.
Woo! Jesus.
So Michael 2 is pretty much greenlit moving forward, filming in either 2026 or 2027, depending on Fuqua's schedule. So if he got a little bit of time, they might be able to do this in 2026 and get us late 27 or...
The real question is, when are we going to get Janet a Michael Jackson story? Or a Jackson story, not a Michael Jackson story.
Starring
Janet
Haley
a Jackson
Bailey.
story.
I know you've seen the AI picture of her.
Okay. We can do better. Jamie Lawson is available.
She's not that dark.
She closer as Jamie Lawson than she is to Haley Bailey.
I don't know if that's true.
Janet Jackson.
She's about the same.
She's Definitely closer to Jamie Lawson.
Jamie Lawson's pretty dark.
I don't think she's that dark skinned.
She's pretty
She's brown.
dark.
Not that dark.
Especially compared to Janet.
My vote is Jamie Lawson.
I'm sure MoFly's probably in here like, yeah, look at my Pearline B.
Vote Pearline.
Tiana Taylor. Oh, he said Tiana Taylor has that Janet role. And so did DeMarcus Vaughn.
You know what? Because of her prowess, I think that would actually be a good role for her. It would, and then eventually she gets to marry a white guy, so
Disgusting.
it'll be right in line with some of her other roles.
DeMarcus Vaughn says Zendaya could play Janet Jackson too.
Man, Zendaya could play Janet Jackson.
He also said Paris Jackson could play Janet Jackson. Anyway, Nia Long is fighting Lionsgate after a clause in her contract that promised she wouldn't be paid less than her supporting co-stars wasn't honored. Now, apparently she had a bigger role in the movie. They cut some things out. This is already a pretty long movie. So they cut some things out, and I guess her part wasn't as long. And so she's like, hold on, y'all making a Michael 2, we need to get some numbers.
Go ahead,
straight.
fix this on Michael too. Yeah, I mean, look, things happen on the cutting room floor, right? Happens. I think Catherine had a very big role in The American Dream, for sure, in that series, originally with Angela Bassett, but I could see a parent getting their contribution shaved a little bit in a movie like this, especially when so much had to been cut already. This was a 4-hour movie to begin with, folks.
Right.
Let's remember how long this film was initially. It ended up being what we saw now because of disputes with the state and prior court cases and agreements and stuff like that. But this was a 4-hour movie. So I think a lot was left out of this film that originally was meant to be in it. It's something to keep in mind when we're, assessing.
Which makes perfect sense once you see the movie. I'll keep it there. Have you seen it yet?
No.
No? Okay. All right, well, I'll keep it there.
Been a very busy weekend.
They need someone who looks similar to her, Janet, can dance and sing, even though Janet isn't the best singer in the Jackson family. Well, of course.
I think Tiana could do it, for sure. Tiana could do it. I think she's the best combination dancing and singing and acting that you can get.
We talked about this movie some weeks ago. We showed the trailer and everything, and it looks like things have gone south. Anthony Mackie's Desert Warrior seems to be heading to be one of the biggest box office flops of all time. I think they've only made hundreds of thousands of dollars.
It was like 480,000 its opening weekend.
Yeah.
It wasn't very good. Apparently the film was Qatari backed.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a Qatari backed film, and it was shot a minute ago. Like, this movie has been already produced for a while, for a few years. Didn't receive a tremendous amount of marketing. I maybe saw the trailer on TV twice.
I don't even know if I've seen it that many times. I've seen it on social media, though.
Did see it on social media. Also, Anthony Mackie is notorious for not being a very pro-fan guy, so I don't know how viable Anthony Mackie introducing a new franchise with, foreign-backed money. It just, he's not... Not that he can't act. I haven't seen the movie. I don't know how he was in the film.
Well, he can act.
What is he going to be marketable enough to sell a new franchise film like that? I just don't know.
There are numerous black men I would have went to before Anthony Mackie.
Yeah.
Because the crazy thing is, when I think of Anthony Mackie, the roles where he did terrible immediately pop up.
Hey, y'all, it's Tupac.
He didn't do terrible as Papa Doc, but the Papa Doc character was kind of like a goofy character to begin with. We only hear him rap at the very beginning, and then he chokes.
Chokes, yeah.
So he barely really had any lines in it. He just had to stand there and look intimidating. It's just... I think of Twisted Metal, which I didn't see, but I think of the things that we know of. Twisted Metal.
I mean, so there were other things, right? There was
Captain America or Falcon.
There's
which I think he did good in the show.
What's the movie he did with Kerry Washington? She Hates Me.
I thought he did good in that Black Mirror episode, even though
Jesus
things kind of went crazy there.
Jesus. Alter Carbon. Let's go with Altered
Carbon.
Carbon. Yeah,
Okay.
that's a better representation.
Yeah. So I mean, he's not a bad actor. He does miss sometimes. I'll say that.
But that's just all from the acting standpoint of things. We're not talking about how marketable is your film going to be. Who's your front man? Like if Henry Cavill can sell The Witcher to folks,
Yeah.
you know, and on Netflix, mind you, you would hope that Anthony Mackie, a guy who's rubbed shoulders with the likes of Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Hemsworth, would be able to have some of that translatable
You would like to hope.
star factor,
Sure,
you know?
Sure. So
At least make $1 million in the opening weekend. Jesus.
Desert Warrior grossed 87,000 from 6,100 admissions in Saudi Arabia over its opening weekend.
Well, again, Qatari-backed film, so I imagine in the Middle East it's pretty popular.
Also, it says Saudi funded.
Saudi. I thought it was Qatar. Okay, Saudi-backed film. Interesting.
Now, $150 million budget. It's grossed 517,508 worldwide. It's pretty bad. It's pretty rough. So, Eric Kripke says they are brainstorming ideas for future spin-offs of The Boys that may include Gen V characters. They're going to find a way to give some of those Gen V characters homes.
Now I know what you're talking about. Yeah, so Kirkman was over here crying, telling everybody, "No, it wasn't me." Kripke, there you go. Kripke and Kirkman.
Yeah,
Kripke.
I know.
Running around telling everybody, "No, I didn't. I swear I didn't cancel it. It wasn't me. I don't even have that type of power." Now he claims he had a treatment for season 3 already written. I just have a hard time understanding how like they walked in and they said, "Yeah, you know the series that continues the storyline as it is. No, that's done. Let's just go back 50 years and let's go with the people that we hate, and let's make a show off of them, and that'll be the one that continues to go forward."
Yeah.
Cue that up, please. Like anything that moves the narrative forward and keeps the story going, nah, we're not interested. Let's go backwards. We prefer to go backwards.
You have negative buzz around your current season of The Boys. So we're going to cancel the old thing that was kind of working and green light the thing that isn't going to work whatsoever. The thing that we're having to explain all anew. Well, that makes sense.
The fact that he's coming out and apologizing and reiterating he don't have the control and promising we gonna get this, that, and the third on in other shows, I don't think that's the last that we've seen of those kids. I think there's enough fan outcry that they'll find some other way to bring him in. And I do expect to still see him in season 5, even though we only got 3 episodes left, which, you know, would probably mean that their role is going to be minuscule. But I think there's been enough fan outcry to show them where their bread is buttered. If anybody's watching or paying attention, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't this much enthusiasm for the announcement for VOT Rising as it was for the canceling of Gen V.
Yeah. Yep.
So, like, I mean, that's easy enough to read.
Which is my answer for Lawrence. Gen V had low viewership. Well, what about a spinoff that's coming up, all anew, that is going to have no viewership?
And I'm sorry, but like, how serious am I supposed to take your claims of low viewership as a streaming service when the only thing that you have to show for that is a third-party viewership model, a viewership tracking model that people have to sign up for? Like, if you're only proof to me as a streaming service, as Prime, that people weren't watching Gen V is Nelson ratings and not any internal data that you can turn over to us, then you're full of shit. Because it would be easy enough to just give us the watch time. You have it all. You have all the data. You know exactly how many people watched it and for how long. Mm-hmm. We don't need a subsection of the American watching viewing public with boxes in their houses that signed up to get this shit, right?
Yeah.
We don't need that because you have the actual raw data. And so if you're not using that to tell me, oh, only this amount of people watched as compared to The Boys or some of the other popular series we got on Prime, then you're full of shit. There's no reason to use third-party data when first-party data is available.
Mm-hmm. Yahya Abdul-Mateen. needed to talk to Kevin Feige before joining on Wonder Man.
Here's what Yaya had to say before joining as Wonder Man. Try not to laugh.
Try not to laugh. It's crazy.
Yahya Abdul-Mateen says he needed to talk to Kevin Feige before he accepted the role of Wonder Man for Marvel. Okay, seems pretty sensible, right?
Yep.
Makes sense. I only get one Marvel dollar to spend. If you're black, mostly. And I wanted to make sure that I spend it well. He let me know that it would be $1 well spent. Okay. So you came in with concerns about who you were going to play in the MCU if you came in. And then they told you, they handed you a comic book, presumably, and said, here's who you're going to be. You're going to be Simon Williams, a.k.a. Simon.
Yep.
Right? Okay. And so at the end of that talk, he was like, it's going to be $1 well spent. And so you didn't immediately pitch that shit at him and ask for a Marvel character of your own, right? Because you knew so much to know that this role is a make or break in the superhero realm of things, at least for you going forward. So you want to make sure it's right? So you know to do that, but you don't come with any suggestions. You don't come with anybody in your mind already of who you could have been. You just listen to somebody pay you lip service about how Simon Williams is going to be $1 well spent. I'm convinced. This thing was already booked for two seasons. They was already in for 2 seasons. What was the first? It was 6 episodes?
I think so.
6 episodes first season. They was like, look, we'll give you 12 episodes. You want to split that up into 2 seasons? Have at it, goddammit. How did we go from, hey, listen, man, I really need to make sure that this role is one that's worth playing, to being Simon Williams? How did we go from having all this concern about who we're playing to getting convinced that Simon Williams is the way to go?
Nigga got sold.
You don't know Bishop? You don't know who Bishop is? You don't know that?
Especially Bishop, since they're going into the mutant era.
You don't know nothing about no Adam Bashir? You don't know nothing? So then why are we so concerned? If you don't know shit, and anybody can just tell you, I could have told you was playing a nigga named Steve, and you would have went with it because Kevin Feige said it was going to be $1 well spent. Did you look at anybody else? Did you look at Goliath? Did you look at Sidewinder?
Nope.
Did you look at Elijah Bradley? Did you look at any other black people being cast in Marvel lately? Ones that have longer stretching acting careers than you. Did you take a peek at what they were given by Marvel to do? And if you did, and that was your concern, how the fuck did he alleviate them by giving you Simon Williams? If you know enough to know who I'm playing matters, how the fuck did he convince you of this? You ain't seen Simon Williams in Nan TV show, movie, animated series, probably since Earth's Mightiest Heroes. What on God's green earth could he have said to you that convinced you that race swapping you as this character was the one that was that's gonna work? That's gonna work. Yep, for sure.
Here's your check. That's the only thing. It's literally the only thing. Here's what we're going to pay you, Yaya. He don't really care.
Ridiculous.